Imagine the beginning. A miracle. Life. Imagine today. Our home. Our ways. Our changing world. Imagine us. Our identity. Our struggles. Our purpose. Imagine the potential of creativity, of collaboration, of our dreams. Imagine new systems, alternate realities, moving forward. Imagine our future.
السيدات والسادة، أهلاً ومرحباً بكم في متحف المستقبل وفي منتدى دبي للمستقبل لعام 2023، أكبر تجمع عالمي لخبراء ومصممي المستقبل. أنا آدم، شخصية افتراضية مطورة بالذكاء الاصطناعي، ويسعدني أن أرافقكم على مدار اليومين خلال فعاليات المنتدى. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Museum of the Future and to the Dubai Future Forum of 2023, the world's largest gathering of futurists. I am Adam, your virtual AI guide throughout the two-day event. الآن أترككم مع الجلسة الافتتاحية لمعالي عمر سلطان العلماء، نائب العضو المنتدب لمؤسسة دبي للمستقبل. Now the opening remarks by His Excellency Omar Sultan Olama, Deputy Managing Director of the Dubai Future Foundation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute pleasure and privilege being in front of all of you here today. And thank you all for joining us at this very important global convening, a convening that brings together the world's brightest minds and the shapers of the present and the future that is to come. I'd like to start off by asking a question. What is the future? And what is the future to different people and different age groups? What is the future for a child? What is the future to an adult? What is the future to a government leader? And what is the future to a student? The answer to this question differs depending on the category of the person, the age group, and what their forecast for that future is. The answer to this question needs to be answered in a location that was designed to incubate future ideas, to accelerate their achievement, and to become the meeting place of the greatest minds that are shaping the future for all of humanity. The Museum of the Future, when it was launched, was asked to become the headquarters of futurists and the place where the future is not just forecasted, but accelerated to happen today. Today was actually a future at one point of time. This gathering was forecasted by individuals that started many, many years beforehand. But I'd like to share, before going into the details of that, what the future meant for us and the moment where we moved from a country that was trying to survive to a country that was mesmerized by the future and what the future could hold. We had a Big Bang moment, and that Big Bang moment transformed the UAE from just another country to a country that is known to shape the future and to change the world. This Big Bang moment started with a North Star, started with a vision. And the vision was about focusing on human potential, not on the national resources that we have and natural resources that we have, not on the turbulent landscape around us, but on what it means when the greatest people with the biggest dreams come together to shape a future in a place that was not known to be where the future was created. This Big Bang moment was in 1971. On the 2nd of December in 1971, there was a pivotal moment in our history as a country. That moment moved us from being just another country that's trying to survive day to day to a country that said, we need to be where the future happens today. The individuals in the picture, the founding fathers of the UAE, were not the most educated futurists. They were not futurists by college degree or futurists by profession. But every single action they took had the future at front and center. And every single thing they focused on was on enabling and unleashing the human talent that existed in the UAE and dreamers from around the world. This moment took us from being a country that was, to some degree, not as developed as the Western world, a country that had ambitions but did not have the ability to put the infrastructure to create the future, to being a beacon of hope. Let me give you a few stories. I think these stories will help shape our understanding of why they were futurists. In 1972, the world went through the beginning of something called the Great Inflation, very similar to what we're seeing here today. Every single economist, many of the futurists at the time, imagined that consumption and global trade is going to drop, and that if you were out of your mind, you would launch a port at that point of time. In 1972, Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, the founding father of modern Dubai, launched one of the biggest ports in the world, Port Rashid. And the experts that were consulted said that Port Rashid required 5 docks to be able to satisfy all of Dubai's demands for the foreseeable future. Sheikh Rashid at that point of time said, let's have 15. Every single person that was an expert in the field, that was a futurist at that point of time, said that it's unfathomable that Dubai will ever need 15 docks. It does not make any economic sense. From a forecast perspective, there is nothing that will tell us that this is going to be required. He had a conviction. He saw a future, he believed in that future, and he bet big on it. That future took Dubai from being just another city in the world to being a city that controls 10% of global trade. One of the busiest ports on the planet is Port Rashid and the Dubai maritime ecosystem. A futurist that took a bet, that had a conviction, and that made it happen. This story repeats itself many, many, many times over. Let's go to 2001. In 1999, the ruler of Dubai, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, said that the internet is going to be the most important technology that man has seen over the last couple of decades. And he forecasted that the future economy is going to be an economy that is based on the internet. That was a very bold and big bet. He even dedicated a cluster for it, the Dubai Internet City, where he said every company working on the internet is going to shape its future from this location. A few short months later, in 2000, the dot-com bubble burst. Now that dot-com bubble burst led a lot of people to forecast and to state that the internet was just hype, and that this future is not going to be a future that we see, and it's not going to be a future that is going to come to life. What did the UAE do? What did His Highness do? He doubled down. He said, we believe in it, we're going to make it happen. And today we see that that future was a forecasted future that was accelerated in the UAE and come to life. Today the UAE incubates the highest number of digital economy startups in the Middle East, the highest number of unicorns as well, and is soon becoming a global digital economy hub. Let's talk about energy. We are an oil-producing country, and oil is an important natural resource for the UAE. The leadership of the UAE, the President, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, said, yes, we have oil. Let's celebrate exporting the final barrel of oil. Just think about the fact that someone is saying, I want to celebrate the exporting of the last barrel of my most important resource. It shows you the conviction, the ability to forecast the future and to make it happen. What did that allow for? The UAE, when everyone was decommissioning nuclear reactors, doubled down and invested in one of the biggest clusters of nuclear energy in the world. There were a lot of naysayers, but we paved our way and we continued on that journey. Today, in terms of energy mix, we're one of the cleanest countries in the world that produces energy. We also are the biggest investors on the planet in renewable energy, specifically solar. And that proves to the world that we don't just imagine the future, we design it, we accelerate it, and we execute it. I would like to take you back to where we are geographically. We are in the Middle East, in a place that is known, unfortunately, for turbulence, that today, while we are speaking, has conflicts. A place where people typically don't have hope. A place where the future can be seen as daunting. In the Middle East, you have a country that is a beacon for hope, a beacon for a positive future, and a place where 200 nationalities from around the world come and live together to create a better future, not just for the UAE, not just for the not just for the Middle East, but for the world. Let me share with you a few ways that we've learned that the future can be forecasted and can be created in a way that's scalable. You can have the most cutting-edge city in the world. You can have the most beautiful landscape. But what really creates the future are the people. It's not the hardware, it's the software. Each and every single one of you, coming from wherever you came, whether it's in the UAE or around the world, to forecast the future in this forum is evidence that you can create change from every single corner of the world. And that we can, by inspiring minds and collectively bringing people together, change the future from anywhere. This gathering started as a dream in 1971. The dream was that the UAE is going to be a global nation, that the UAE is not going to focus on its own needs. It's going to be the world in a country rather than a country in the world. And if in 1971, a futurist came and said that this gathering is going to come together, people would have smiled and said, it's a long shot. Today it's a reality. And it's a reality because of all of you, because of the belief, the conviction, and the trust. So we'd like to start off by thanking each and every single one of you. I'd also like to share with you a few stories of creating hope and shaping a better future for a place like the Middle East. In a place where youth feel like the future might be a very difficult thing for us to grasp and shape and be a part of. We launched a probe that was the first probe from the Middle East that went to Mars. When this project was announced in 2013, a space program from the Middle East, from a country that at the time was less than 50 years old, it seemed like a far shot. It seemed like an impossible endeavor. Today, that probe orbits Mars and shares very important scientific data that inspires youth every single day that they can shape a future from the Middle East that will change the world. I'd also like to share with you a story on enablement. Every single decision that is being taken in Dubai today and the UAE is a decision that is not for today, but for tomorrow. At one point of time, there's a very interesting article that came out that said, the build it and they will come model is proving to be wrong. And the buildings that are in the UAE are going to remain empty. Over the last couple of years, the UAE has seen a boom in inflow of talent, of capital, and of dreamers from around the world. This wasn't because of the buildings. The buildings were here, they were forecasted, the need was foreseen, but what brought people is this vision that you can come here, you will be treated equally, and you will be unleashed. Your potential is going to be reached. The 200 nationalities that shape the UAE's DNA is what makes us special. And for the foreseeable future, this is what is going to keep us in the lead. The fact that no matter how you look, the fact that no matter where you're from, the fact that no matter what your religion is, because you dream of the future and because you want to impact humanity positively, the UAE can be your testbed, it can be your springboard and can unleash you, is what is going to be the continuous fact for the future. The ruler of Dubai, the Prime Minister and the Vice President of the UAE, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, gave us an important vision. The future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. The future is not something that you await, but rather create. This was a rallying call for us. But it also was something that made us go back to basics. Let's go back to the core. The core of it is if you want to forecast the future of space, if you want to be part of the new frontier, there are fundamentals that you require today to be able to shape that. And those fundamentals, going back to the first question, which is, what is the future for a member of the youth? What is the future for a woman from, for example, Africa? What is the future for a man, for example, from a different part of the world, or a government leader? The fundamentals are to be part of this future, you need to have certain enablers. The enablers are not just the ability to be able to see the horizon and the ability to dream, but something as basic as being able to read. Something as basic as being able to use technology. And this ability to be able to consume knowledge, to be able to communicate, to be able to congregate with others is something that people miss out on. People think that if you invest in cutting-edge compute, if you invest in artificial intelligence, you're going to be part of the future. But if you do not have the talent that's going to shape it, you won't be, even if you have billions of dollars that are being spent on that. That is why we think that bringing forward generations of Arabs, generations of people around us in our region is the only way to create a better future. And it's the only way to instill hope. I'd like to share with you a heartwarming story that is very close to my heart. When the world believed that because of COVID, we could not go to school and we could not leave our houses, there were many refugees around the world that could not have access to schooling. In this exact moment, there was a question. What is the future to these kids? What happens to those that are not able to access the basic necessities to be able to be part of the future? And in that moment, there were programs that were launched from the UAE that are impacting hundreds of thousands of people around the world that took education to them, using the most cutting-edge infrastructure that exists, whether it's space-based internet, whether it's tablets, or whether it's the ability to translate instantaneously in many languages. If we want to be positive about the future, if we want to create the future in the right way, we need to bring everyone with us. We can't do it in an echo chamber. This program was also complemented by the biggest reading challenge that the world has seen. Hundreds of millions of people in the Arab world went from not reading a single book in a year to reading over 50 books a year. And every single year, the Oscars of reading takes place in the UAE that embraces the ability for people to consume knowledge, to understand different cultures, and hopefully the ability that they're going to create of being able to shape the future. Those individuals that are readers today are going to be the shapers of technology, are going to be the thought leaders of the future, and are going to choose the whole world to be their playground. Hopefully, the UAE is going to be their preference. I'd like to conclude by saying that each and every single one of us has a role. We have a role in forecasting the future, we have a role in communicating it, and we have a role in unleashing human potential. We hope that you're going to consider the UAE and this platform as the starting point, and hopefully allow us to go on that journey with you. I wish you all an incredibly successful Dubai Future Forum, and I thank you for your time. Thank you.
الحضور الكريم، الآن مع كلمة